Hi everyone, we're Tim and Catina coming from Hong Kong, and lovely to be here to share with you guys how we've used open source to set creativity free and empower the next generation of artists. So a bit about us to start with. I'm Tim, and I work with CGGE, our company, on our international partnerships. We bring frontier technologies to our audience based out of Hong Kong and China and Asia.
Yeah.
And this is Katina.
Yeah. Hi, thanks for introducing me. I'm Catina, and I'm the curriculum lead at CGGE. So basically, I have a product design background, but I'm passionate about education. So that's the reason why I'm choosing to be a curriculum designer rather than be a product designer after the graduation from my college. So basically, in Hong Kong, I in charge of the K-12 education innovations. Besides, I work with the Penpot and Banner teams to deliver those amazing qualification framework and certification system. Yeah.
Awesome. So to give everyone a bit of context and background about what we do and why we do what we do, a bit of history. So our founder, Raymond, his roots in the creative industry started in the year 2000 when he created the first 3D computer graphics feature film in China called Through the Mobius Strip. Similarly, in 2006, he worked in Singapore to bring advanced game programming and technical artistry to the Nanyang Technological University. So working with educational institutions and working with frontier tech has always been in our DNA. And in 2018, our path took a slight shift, and we started working with open source. And I'll speak to the reasons why shortly. And we started partnering with Blender, and we've been working with open source tools ever since. And we've been doing that in Hong Kong with educational institutions, universities, and now primary and secondary schools as well. Our path really starts from the industry side. These are some of our partners, whether it's industry associations or companies, studios. We work with them to find out what the latest skills or talent needs are. And then we approach our educational partners and design programs with them to ensure that our students, when they graduate, whether they're kids or adults, they can find skills and equip themselves with skills that actually matter. And recently, these are some of the primary and secondary schools that we've been working with, really expanding that reach to a younger and wider audience. Here's a bit of data and a bit of context on what we've been doing in Hong Kong and what open source kind of looks like in Hong Kong. So a bit of data to color everyone's kind of insights. Open source is present. Lots of companies use open source, in all types of sectors and fields. And there's a huge developer community. So I didn't really believe this statistic, but it's from our friends at GitHub, so I believe it. 1.6 million developers in Hong Kong, and we're like an 8 million population city. So maybe some of them are remote, but even if it's a fraction of that, that's a huge base to start with. So I think that's a really inspiring and mature kind of base to begin our work in open source. And the way we did that was this 5-step process. We start by identifying what the pain points and what the needs of our community were. And then our chosen approach was education, and I'll pass to Katina to speak more about that later. And off the back of that, we've been building a really great community of open source enthusiasts. All right. So on the pain points, why do we care so much about open source? So, this is really something close to our hearts. Some logos here that people will recognize. Since 2019, what we noticed is that popular tools in creativity, in science, in productivity, like Figma, Behance, MATLAB, even basic tools like Microsoft and Adobe have been sanctioned or been banned for use in China. And I'll clarify and stress that this happens in pockets, right? It doesn't happen for everyone. You can still access it, and we have VPNs. But the fact that this can happen, right, kind of triggered an alarm bell, right? What happens if we don't have access to these great tools? If we want to pay for it, we want a license, we can't, right? What then? So that's why open source is really appealing for us because of the autonomy that it offers. And obviously, closed source is expensive, right? And this is simple like data from if you subscribe to Adobe and the 3D Suite from Autodesk and Microsoft, like that's the basic package you start with. That's $4,000 US per seat per year. And we can't afford that because average salaries across China might be like that, if you're working in 3D. So if the choice is between hiring an extra artist and paying for software, well, yeah, it's clear. So I'll pass to Katina now to speak more about what we've been doing in education to make open source possible.
Yeah, thank you, Tim. So I would like to talk about story. So first of all, looking back on our journey, so we was wondering how can we implement the OSS application in Hong Kong. So until a day, we saw this chat, and it shows the people with at least basic over digital skills in the European countries. So we start to think about a question: why the Netherlands share the highest percentage that is taking a leader step amongst those European countries? So here, we think the answer is very simple. It's because here's a school that we visited before. So we find that the Netherlands government has established a modern and very solid, as well as is a very mature education system. So they have integrated digital media into their traditional subjects. So through using the OSS software. So in the school, they provide 5 hours of trainings each week. So you can see students just sit in the classroom, such as open, fair, and collaborations environments. So they are free to doing their projects and chat with each other to share their ideas. So inspired by this case study, we defined the DECT. So what's DECT? Digital Core Technology Economy. So compared with the traditional subjects, especially like the STEAM or STEM education, we find there is a lack of connections between the college to the workplace. So what we really want to do in DECT is help the student or the learners to equip with all the essentials and I would say essential and employable skills to help them to exist in and survive in the digital economy. So that's why we provide inclusive topics, including the digital arts and productions, science and engineering, digital literacy, as well as the DECT studies. So these are the open source tools that we use extensively into our daily teaching. So familiar logos, Blender, Penpot, Godot, Dream, Inkscape, Critter. So for the science paths, we have Python, HTML, Java. Yeah, so we try to integrate all the open source tools into our daily training, as well as especially for the K-12 education and the vocational trainings. So even though we have a very good concept, but when we bring our course to the classroom setting, so we face a lot of challenges, and here is one of the significant challenge that we have faced before. So in Hong Kong, I would like to share a very interesting fact to you all. So in Hong Kong, every public school, especially for the secondary school, can tap over 1 million Hong Kong dollars every 3 years to do like the classroom or equipment upgrading. So, but we find the majority why the school are spending such money in like invest into the upgrading, but not using this open software, is because you can see even though we have a fancy and futuristic classroom setting, like a smart classroom, but we need a very good content to consolidate students to learn about all the essential skills to survive in the digital economy. So that's why we think about that. Why the school don't switch to open source teaching? It's because it's a smarter way to help them to save money, to allocate their budget to buy a better teaching materials, as well as like conducting more professional teacher trainings. So refer to the previous cases. So we noticed that even though school may be open to adopt the technology into their daily teaching, but they are lack of awareness to using the open software. So in Hong Kong, we basically do 2 things. So the first thing is to deliver and design OSS courses. And the second thing is we provide technical support to all the students and industrial, especially the vocational training. So through collaborating with school students, parents, and the professionals, we eagerly want to establish a very solid industry, academic, research ecosystem that in a long-term development, it can help to drive the economy in Hong Kong. So here are the approaches that we have taken in the past few years, and I would like to share you more. Okay, the first thing we started with is the train-the-trainer programs. So first of all, we introduced the OSS to a small group of teachers for our collections because we want to test about the feasibility of our courses. So in these cases, you can see in the classroom setting, the teachers are learning Blender, and we teach them how to use the Blender. So after they are able to use Blender, so they can try to deliver and integrate those DCT knowledge into their daily teaching. So it gives an opportunity for students to learn what Blender is and why it's a good tool or powerful tool to do the creative works. So another approach that we have taken is the summer camps. So apart working with group of teachers and students, we start to partner with school NGOs as well as some communities to reach a wider audience. So here is a sizable summer camp that held in 2023. So it's a very delightful data. You can see we have over 200 students from around 220 schools around in Hong Kong. So they came to here and learn about how to use the Blender in a 12-hour teaching. So after they have learned the basic operation of Blender, so they will be able to create the animation works by group. So, and next, we are glad that we have taken a big leap so we can successfully integrate the OSS operations into daily teaching. So here is an example that we were teaching the dream lessons. So in a 10-hour teaching, so we have 5 key topics delivered to students, like how to use dream to do some editing technique. Yeah. So last but not least, we have launched the UI/UX seminar because we want to educate the public. So like Maddie said before, in 2 years or 2 years ago, we start to have the seminar about UI/UX using Penpot. And you can see we start using Penpot. We accept teachings the people what the UI/UX principle is, the tendency of UI/UX in the futures. So we also have some courses for them to learn from scratch and to doing some stunning app design. Yeah, so this is our story of how we promoting innovation through education, and I would like to pass the time to Tim and continues our journey. Sorry. Yeah.
Thank you, Catina. So we've done great work in training lots of students. We have a huge alumni base. The next natural step was to build up a community to connect all these individuals together and really explore new opportunities. So one of the first things we did was start hosting competitions. I think contests are a fun, engaging way for students to really challenge themselves and also showcase their artwork on a larger stage. Again, we did that with 3D to begin with because we had a broader audience there. And last year we hosted a competition, and these are the winners. They're 14 to 16-year-old. I encourage everyone to watch that video online when you have time. The QR code will be somewhere online. But it's amazing how they can use completely open source tools to create a short film with like a few months of training. Yeah. And here are some like behind the scenes as well. What we got to do with them afterwards, after they did a great work, was they came to our award ceremony at an international event. We brought them to lots of game and animation studios around Hong Kong and China. And it was rewarding for both us and them to see how they've grown from the process. And this was the event that we started creating. This was the International AI and Creativity Conference that we hosted. And over a 3-day weekend, we got 3,000 open source enthusiasts, tech enthusiasts, creative artists to join together to just talk about what it's like to work in their field. And in particular, we had one day that was very open source themed. It was a Blender day. And that day alone, we had 1,000 people come in. And the way we did it was we had speakers come in and share their thoughts. And we had courses where people can actually hands-on work with the open source tools that we advocate for, as well as latest technology like in AI. And yeah, it was a rewarding experience for everyone. And this is what we hope to do for all open source tools that we champion, including Penpot. Which brings me to our next step. An event is fleeting, right? It's amazing, but how can we engage with these communities on a day-to-day basis? And we think the best way is to create an online platform. And this is what we created. It's called OriginCG, hopefully the origin of all things creative and open source. And there you'll find lots of avenues to share your artwork, to learn about open source, to engage with the community, learn through blog posts. There's a marketplace as well. And one of the core features here as part of the learning module is the certification system. We've been doing this with other tools like Blender, and we've been creating a way to define what it means to know the tool, right? To be experienced in the tool. And you'll see here, we did that with Blender by creating Blender badges. We did that with the community, getting insights and feedback from them. And now we've done the same for Penpot. We created a six-step system, right, that defines key knowledge and skills in different areas, levels 0 to 3. And the way we assess that is with a blend of multiple choice exams and hands-on tasks. And we're glad to announce that this is now online and available to try out on our platform. And it's the first foundation level, but we really invite everyone to give us some feedback and tell us how we're doing. As the other speakers have mentioned, like Laura said, we want to bring things out early, even though it's not perfect, right? We want to hear from the community, right? Is this the best way? As we have seen from and introducing these certification and education standards to other open source communities, there's often a culture shock as well. In Asia, we care a lot about achievements and badges and certification, but it may not be as important in all walks of life or in all fields or in all geographies. But we think it's a good way to define a common standard for industry and academia to get closer together. And we invite everyone to try. It's free, it's online, it takes 20 minutes, and it's easy. And here's a quick video. Thank you. Guys. Thank you. So here's a quick video to show everyone what it looks like as well. So you'll get on our landing page and you'll see how the levels are defined, and it's still a work in progress, but you'll see these are the 6 big areas from UI to UX to front-end development to programming. And the test looks a bit like this. It's like a multiple choice. And the good thing is, if you want to get ready for this, you can take Laura's course on penpot.app, right? Foundation course, level 0 and 1, which covers the foundation exam. So it's all very complementary. We would like working with the community. And at the end of it, right, you'll get a grade, right, of course. And yay, we passed. And the good thing is we've created guides on, like, if you got something wrong, right, you can review, right, what we think the recommended answer is and what the next step would be to improve. And if you find any mistakes, please let us know. Yes. Yeah, and that's what it looks like. Here's the QR code again. But yeah, thank you everyone for your time, and we'll be around.